Chapter 3. The Agency Business, Fun, Fray, and 15%. It seems to me that when an advertising man has an idea for a client, anybody's client, he is obligated to go present it, and, in fact, has no right to hold back. The agency is incidental as a channel between the advertiser and media, but as a catalyst to help an advertiser grow, it is important. The advertiser is always the thing, not the agency. For some time, I have asked myself what differentiated the Biow Company from other advertising agencies. One thing stands out. A large number of our accounts started with us from nowhere and wound up as formidable businesses. We seem to have an affinity for people of vision, courage, and determination to become leaders. We sincerely believed that ideas were bigger than money, that ideas could lick money when the ideas were right. That conviction proved itself time and again. This does not mean that all our accounts started small and grew big. Many were giants when they came to us. Sometimes these giants brought us new or small products which we had a chance to help them develop. That is the real life of the advertising business. The dynamism of making big ones out of little ones and making big ones bigger. And I guess we were something of a maverick among advertising agencies. By and large, we weren't for plans, boards, committees, conferences. I have always felt that group thinking arrives at the lowest level of the group, or there would be no agreement at all. It seems to have the power to pull people down rather than up. So I avoided it as much as possible. We believed in the creative individual. We built our business on good men and paid top money. We didn't want just quantity, we wanted quality. We wound up with fewer men than most agencies, but at a higher cost. When people came to us for jobs, whatever they wanted, they got. If they represented something important to us, we would employ them, whether we needed them at the moment or not. If they had the ability, they would soon find the job to do. It worked. It paid off almost every time. We were fanatics on creative copy. We believed that if our copy department was right, we didn't need to worry too much about the contact department. We put our big money into copy and let contact take care of itself. At one point, 5 former copy chiefs from 5 other good agencies were in our copy department. When these men developed a campaign, I took an objective look. If the ads passed muster with me, the client could pretty well buy them blindfolded. When the Biow Company accepted a new client, I turned myself around. I became the client, right in my own office. When a campaign was ready, even if the original idea was mine, the staff had to sell it to me. They tell me I was the toughest client of all when I started to tear the advertising apart. They battled back with every fact and argument they had to prove that what we were doing for the client was right for him. If they couldn't prove it to me, we would start all over again. But if they could convince me that it would sell the goods, we had very little trouble convincing the client himself. One thing I can say truthfully, I never sold a client anything in my life that I would not have bought if I had been the client myself. I was wrong on some of them, but I believed in all of them. It seems to me you get better advertising that way. And when you get better advertising out of your agency gets more of it. Even our bookkeeping system was different. We kept no cost accounting records to tell us how much money we made on any specific account or any specific department, or how much we lost for that matter. What good would it have done? If we felt a job was needed, we were going to do it anyhow, no matter what it cost. We had separate departments in our agency, of course, as any agency must, but our departments all interacted. Everyone worked together to make the business grow. Of course, we had an agency head. I was that. But there was no door to my office that kept our people out. There was only a door that brought them in. They could come in at any time, and they did, to talk to me about anything. I had enough faith in them to know they wouldn't waste my time. It was all very personal and lots of fun. In getting new business, we didn't believe in submitting campaigns from the outside in. Those were bound to be inside out. If you submit a campaign so the prospect will like it, rather than the consumer, you're wrong already. We sold the Biow Company on what it stood for. Out of that came our growth. A good many people have asked me what other agencies I worked in. Not only have I never worked in any other agency, I never stepped inside of one. To make a small confession, I never even read a book on advertising, and here I am writing one. But maybe the time to write the book is after you've learned anyhow. We started small and learned the advertising business as we went along. When we had a job to do, we did it, our way. When you involve yourself with other agencies without realizing it, your thinking is influenced by what the other agencies do, or would do, or might do. What you want is to do things your way, not the other man's way. That explains why we were never a part of the American Association of Advertising Agencies, or any other group for that matter. We simply stayed the Biow Company, 100%, a good group in itself. Chapter 4, The Client. The advertiser is always the thing, not the agency. Biow. Does a client have rights? Damned right he has rights. After all, he pays the bills, and what is more, he is responsible to the stockholders of the company, not to the advertising agency. But it is because the client has both rights and responsibilities that he must be mighty sure of himself before he exercises his right to say no when an agency presents an idea. He begins with the knowledge that the agency already has said yes by the very presentation. Unless he can support his refusal by indisputable facts, he had better think hard. His right to say no can stop a big idea. What would have happened if the advertiser had said no to call for Philip Morris, no cigarette hangover, halitosis, Bulova watch time, Crest's dentist story, or other advertising ideas that have built up tremendous volume? Priceless ideas would never have come to light. Nobody would have known how great they really were. Yes, the advertiser unquestionably has rights in advertising, but his rights involve the responsibility not only to stop an idea when it's wrong, but to sense a big idea when he sees it, to give it every chance to prove that it is big. One of the most serious mistakes you can make in the advertising business is asking a client, "How do you like the ad?" Meaning his ad. In the first place, it's the old story. He doesn't buy the goods, he sells them. Whether or not he liked the ad doesn't count at all. In the second place, you put him in the wrong position. If you are the advertising expert, why ask him? There is only one question to ask. How are the sales going? That's a legitimate question, and you're entitled to the answer. Your responsibility is to make ads that sell goods. When they do that, your client will like them. Nothing else means anything. Many a good idea has gone down the drain because some client said no. Once he said no, there was no way in the world to get him to say yes. These fellows get stubborn sometimes, and regardless of what proof you have that you are right, they simply say no. And there you are. Little will you know, or anyone else know, what might have been gained if he had said yes. I think I know a way to handle such a situation. It's a secret. Once I tell it and clients find out, another good idea goes down the drain. Too bad, but here goes. Some time ago, we had a wonderful campaign idea for a client. For obvious reasons, I cannot tell his name or business. And I knew if he said no, he would lose sales tremendously. How could I get him to say yes? It was done in many steps. In the first place, I said to him, long before I was ready to show him the campaign, "Remember a while ago we mentioned that XYZ idea to you and you said it was great and you'd like to see it again? Well, you were right. We're working on it now." A while later, I reported to him, "Your idea is coming along. We'll show it to you sometime next week." I might add that we were simply waiting, building him up to accept what he otherwise might have turned down. The next time I saw him, I said, "Here it is, the idea you liked. Congratulations, it worked out just fine." He smiled. He was happy. To him, it was his. And we breathed a sigh of relief as he said, "Yes." The actual fact, of course, was that it never was his. He had never seen it before in his life. But a client sees so many things, hears so many ideas over a period of time. How can he remember them all? He believed this was his idea, and he was ready for it. So were we. Try this strategy sometime and see how it works. You're doing it for your client's good. That should clear your conscience. Remember the story of the old apple peddler? These apples cost him 1 cent each. He sold them for 3/4 of a cent. When the day was done, a friend asked him how he could make money selling them below cost. "Because I sell a lot of them," was the apple man's answer. Of course, this way of doing business won't work for advertising any more than it will for selling apples, but 15% will. You can make a lot of money out of 15% if your client is selling enough for his 85%. Time and again, I have heard advertising agencies complain about the 15%. They give out the inflated story of inflation and all the rest. The truth of the matter is that if they concentrate on getting their client full value for every dollar he spends, their advertising will accelerate so fast they need not worry about whether 15% is enough. It's always enough when you sell enough. It's always too little when you sell too little. The advertising business differs from most others in that you are much more concerned with your client and how his business is doing than with your own. The important person for the agency to worry about is the man who has the dollar to spend. He is the man who makes the money for the agency. It's arithmetic so simple that even I can understand. It's the number of times your client spends a dollar in 1 year that determines your earnings. Multiplication does it in advertising just as it does in sales. Whether you make 1 times 15 or 100 times 15 is pretty much up to you. Get the advertising up and it will always go up when it sells enough for your client at a profit. And your commissions will go up too. The advertising manager. Title on your door. Bigelow on your floor. Advertising manager? That's right. Advertising manager, no quotation marks, and make it that way. You are not just someone for the boss to send people to so he can avoid talking to them himself. If you work for a man who wants to be an advertising manager but figuratively gives the job to you, give it back to him. Or stay there and make yourself advertising clerk. There is no one more essential to a company that requires advertising, and as far as I can see, all of them do, than the advertising manager. You have the important job of helping the agency to better their best for you. Sit in when the budget is being decided. Have your say, then take charge. Here are some don'ts. Don't be a smart aleck. Don't know it all. Don't stop the agency by trying to top them. Rather, inspire them to top you. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, you might want to check our link in the description, where you'll find many other fundamental marketing books in different languages. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more persuasion and direct response content. See you in the next one.